as many recipes for cornbread dressing as there are Southerners in this world. Today I'm going to show you my favorite sage and cornbread dressing that you can have on your table for the holidays in no time flat. I'm Rachel Ballard. This is Feast and Farm Cooks. Let's get started. It is a special day here on Feast and Farm Cooks because we have a guest in the kitchen. My son Logan is here with us today. He's been asking for a long time to be on the channel with me, and so he's here and I'm glad to have him. He's going to be helping us put together this Southern cornbread dressing. Now, if I call it dressing and stuffing a bunch of times while we're doing this, just forgive me. Stuffing is what goes inside the turkey and dressing is what you make in a separate pan. So I tend to use those interchangeably. But here's what you're going to need to get this made. Do you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody.
He's a little scared. Okay, so here's what you're going to need to make it. We'll go over the ingredients. Back here in this bowl, I have about 4 slices of white bread that I have crumbled up. If it's a little bit old, that's even better. You kind of want everything to be a little bit dry for this. We have celery, white onion. This is a 9-inch skillet of homemade cornbread. Now, you can use a box mix here if you choose to, but you're going to want to use one that does not have sugar in it. So if you're like a Jiffy mix kind of person, you're going to need to make sure that you get one that doesn't have sugar. I will also leave you a link right up here to my cornbread recipe, which is this one, so you can make it yourself. Salt and pepper. We've got some melted butter, some chicken stock, and some fresh sage. Now, you can, of course, buy your sage in the store. This is mine that I make here on the farm and I dried myself. And then we have an egg. So let's get started. So Logan's going to be our mixer for today. And this is really just mixed together. We're going to form these in balls. That's the way that my family always did it. So we're going to just kind of make balls and we're going to bake these in the oven. But if you wanted to put yours in a single layer in a 9x13 pan and cut squares or scoop it, that works just as well. So Logan, go ahead and crumble up that cornbread to just break it, hold it over the bowl.
Oh, okay.
Just break it up with your hands. You want about 4 cups of cornbread. Now I happen to know, yeah, it goes everywhere. I happen to know that this one makes, a 9-inch skillet makes about 4 cups of cornbread. But if you're not sure, crumble yours up and then measure it first and then put all 4 cups into the bowl. So while he's crumbling, I'm just gonna toss this with my hands.
It's a mess.
It is for you. When you work with your kids, it's unpredictable. You never know what you're gonna get, but that's okay.
I'm usually neater than this.
That's all right. And we can always clean it up. You know, be forgiving with them. If they want to be with you in the kitchen, the only way they're going to learn to cook is if they spend time with you. So that's okay. We have patience. All right. That's pretty good, Logan. Now we'll just kind of toss it around so we get the bread off the bottom and get it all in there. Probably should have used a bigger bowl, but that's okay. Okay, now next thing we're going to do, Logan, go ahead and just pour in this butter. That's a half a stick of butter. I have the recipe over on the main Feast and Farm website, so you can make sure you hop over there and get that. I can also leave you a link in the description box to go to it. And then this is the celery and the onions. You want these about the same size. If you make them too big, it's going to be just too hard to eat the dressing with them too large. And they also won't cook evenly. So the next thing we're going to do is our sage. Now, like I said, this is mine that I raise here on the farm and dry myself, but you don't have to go that far if you don't want to. This is we're going to do about 2½ teaspoons. Now, it just is an essential ingredient here. Have to have it. Then what we're going to do here, crack some pepper. Just a couple of grinds of pepper, and then we're going to put some salt in. Really important that you salt this. Now, that's good. I'm going to put the salt in, just a little. It's half a teaspoon is what I call for in the recipe.
What about the egg?
Here, we'll get there in a minute. But if you want to do, a little bit more, it's just going to depend on how salty your chicken stock is. Now, this is my stock going in, and hold on, let me get it all out. I use a stock base, like Better Than Bouillon here, but of course, if you have homemade, use homemade. Okay, see if you can stir that up. We'll see how much comes out of the bowl. You can also use your hands for this part if you want to. You don't have to use, if your hands are clean, you don't have to use a spoon. He says he washed them. Okay, go for it. So you're just going to work this together until you have a nice mixture. Now, if it's too dry and it doesn't feel like it would form a ball, then you could add a little more stock if you need to, but just kind of work it together. And your egg is going to be your binder. We haven't added that yet because I want to be able to taste it first. So taste it for seasoning before you put that raw egg in there. Make sure the salt and pepper are right, and if it suits you, go ahead and put the egg in and make your balls. So let me see. I think that's fine. I might put just a tad more sage in there. Okay, work it in. So it's good to have an assistant. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. Now I'm going to do the egg. Thanks, Logan. You take your hands out now. Do you want to step over and wash them?
Yes.
Okay. He's going to go wash his hands. All right. So I'm going to put the egg in. We're just going to work that in. This is just such a classic recipe If you're looking for one that doesn't use those hard bread cubes in a bag that you get at the store, I've never understood those things. So this is so much simpler and just tastes better. So once you get the egg worked in, that's going to be your binder that's going to hold them together once they bake. I'm going to move these over and show you how to make your balls. We've got a cornbread splash everywhere. Okay, so your balls can be as big as you need them to be. Now, for me, they can be anywhere from, walnut size to a little bit bigger, and that works great. Then we're just going to form these out, and it's going to make 20 to 24 balls, probably depending on how large you make them. And we're going to bake them in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. We're not really cooking anything. We're just setting that egg, heating them through, and they'll be ready to go. Now, if you wanted to make these in advance, it's very easy to do that. Go ahead and bake them. Just pop them in the fridge, and when you're ready to cook them, when you're ready for your big meal, just take them out, drop them in the oven for 5 or 10 minutes, warm them through, and you're ready to go. So so funny. I'm going to go ahead and finish shaping these out. I'll get them in the oven and I'll show you what they look like when we come back. Be back in just a little bit. Okay. Our dressing balls are out of the oven and Logan is ready to dive in here. So I'm going to let him go ahead and pick one out. Yeah. They just get a little firm. They're still kind of delicate and a little bit soft, and that's okay. That's the way you want them. Let's hope he doesn't burn his mouth because they're really, really hot.
Yummy.
Blow on it. While he's thinking about that, don't forget to subscribe here on Feast and Farm Cooks. You can do that right here. You can watch another video right here. I'm so glad you were with me today. Take that bite, Logan. Let's see what it's like. Thanks. We'll see you later.
It's good.
Is it good?
It's really good.